Lamentations 1. The deserted city. How lonely sits the city that was full of people. How like a widow has she become. She that was great among the nations, she that was a princess among the cities, has become a vassal. She weeps bitterly in the night, tears on her cheeks. Among all her lovers, she has none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They have become her enemies. Judah has gone into exile because of affliction and hard servitude. She dwells now among the nations, but finds no resting place. Her pursuers have all overtaken her. In the midst of her distress, the roads to Zion mourn, for none come to the appointed feasts. All her gates are desolate. Her priests groan. Her maidens have been dragged away, and she herself suffers bitterly. Her foes have become the head. Her enemies prosper, because the Lord has made her suffer. For the multitude of her transgressions, her children have gone away, captives before the foe. From the daughter of Zion has departed all her majesty. Her princes have become like harts that find no pasture. They fled without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembers, in the days of her affliction and bitterness, all the precious things that were hers from days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the foe, and there was none to help her. The foe gloated over her, mocking at her downfall. Jerusalem sinned grievously, therefore she became filthy. All who honored her despise her, for they have seen her nakedness. Yet she herself groans, and turns her face away. Her uncleanness was in her skirts. She took no thought of her doom. Therefore her fall is terrible. She has no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction. For the enemy has triumphed. The enemy has stretched out his hands over all her precious things. Yet she has seen the nations invade her sanctuary, those whom thou didst forbid to enter thy congregation. All her people groan as they search for bread. They trade their treasures for food, to revive their strength. Look, O Lord, and behold, for I am despised. Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Look and see, if there is any sorrow like my sorrow, which was brought upon me, which the Lord inflicted on the day of his fierce anger. From on high he sent fire. Into my bones he made it descend. He spread a net for my feet. He turned me back. He has left me stunned, faint all the day long. My transgressions were bound into a yoke. By his hand they were fastened together. They were set upon my neck. He caused my strength to fail. The Lord gave me into the hands of those whom I cannot withstand. The Lord flouted all my mighty men. In the midst of me, he summoned an assembly against me, to crush my young men. The Lord has trodden as in a winepress the virgin daughter of Judah. For these things I weep. My eyes flow with tears. For a comforter is far from me, one to revive my courage. My children are desolate, for the enemy has prevailed. Zion stretches out her hands, but there is none to comfort her. The Lord has commanded against Jacob, that his neighbors should be his foes. Jerusalem has become a filthy thing among them. The Lord is in the right, for I have rebelled against his word. But hear, all you peoples, and behold my suffering. My maidens and my young men have gone into captivity. I called to my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and elders perished in the city, while they sought food to revive their strength. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My soul is in tumult. My heart is wrung within me, because I have been very rebellious. In the street the sword bereaves. In the house it is like death. Hear how I groan. There is none to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Bring thou the day thou hast announced. And let them be as I am. Let all their evil doing come before thee. And deal with them as thou hast dealt with me. Because of all my transgressions. For my groans are many. And my heart is faint. Lamentations 2. God's warnings fulfilled. How the Lord in his anger has set the daughter of Zion under a cloud. He has cast down from heaven to earth the splendor of Israel. He has not remembered his footstool. In the day of his anger, the Lord has destroyed without mercy all the habitations of Jacob. In his wrath he has broken down the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He has brought down to the ground in dishonor the kingdom and its rulers. He has cut down in fierce anger all the might of Israel. He has withdrawn from them his right hand. In the face of the enemy, he has burned like a flaming fire in Jacob, consuming all around. He has bent his bow like an enemy, with his right hand set like a foe. And he has slain all the pride of our eyes. In the tent of the daughter of Zion, he has poured out his fury like fire. The Lord has become like an enemy. He has destroyed Israel. He has destroyed all its palaces, laid in ruins its strongholds. And he has multiplied in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. He has broken down his booth like that of a garden, laid in ruins the place of his appointed feasts. The Lord has brought to an end in Zion appointed feast and Sabbath, and in his fierce indignation has spurned king and priest. The Lord has scorned his altar, disowned his sanctuary. He has delivered into the hand of the enemy the walls of her palaces. A clamor was raised in the house of the Lord, as on the day of an appointed feast. The Lord determined to lay in ruins the wall of the daughter of Zion. He marked it off by the line. He restrained not his hand from destroying. He caused rampart and wall to lament. They languish together. Her gates have sunk into the ground. He has ruined and broken her bars. Her king and princes are among the nations. The law is no more, and her prophets obtain no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground in silence. They have cast dust on their heads, and put on sackcloth. The maidens of Jerusalem have bowed their heads to the ground. My eyes are spent with weeping. My soul is in tumult. My heart is poured out in grief, because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. Because infants and babes faint in the streets of the city. They cry to their mothers, "Where is bread and wine?" As they faint like wounded men in the streets of the city, as their life is poured out on their mother's bosom. What can I say for you, to what compare you, O daughter of Jerusalem? What can I liken to you, that I may comfort you, O virgin daughter of Zion? For vast as the sea is your ruin. Who can restore you? Your prophets have seen for you false and deceptive visions. They have not exposed your iniquity to restore your fortunes, but have seen for you oracles false and misleading. All who pass along the way clap their hands at you. They hiss and wag their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city which was called the perfection of beauty, the joy of all the earth? All your enemies rail against you. They hiss, they gnash their teeth. They cry, "We have destroyed her. Ah, this is the day we longed for. Now we have it, we see it. The Lord has done what he purposed, has carried out his threat, as he ordained long ago. He has demolished without pity. He has made the enemy rejoice over you, and exalted the might of your foes. Cry aloud to the Lord, O daughter of Zion. Let tears stream down like a torrent, day and night. Give yourself no rest, your eyes no respite. Arise, cry out in the night. At the beginning of the watches, pour out your heart like water. Before the presence of the Lord, lift your hands to Him. For the lives of your children, who faint for hunger, at the head of every street. Look, O Lord, and see. With whom hast thou dealt thus? Should women eat their offspring, the children of their tender care? Should priest and prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? In the dust of the streets lie the young and the old. My maidens and my young men have fallen by the sword. In the day of thy anger thou hast slain them, slaughtering without mercy. Thou didst invite us to the day of an appointed feast. My terrors on every side. And on the day of the anger of the Lord, none escaped or survived. Those whom I dandled and reared, my enemy destroyed. Lamentations 3. God's steadfast love endures. I am the man who has seen affliction. Under the rod of his wrath, He has driven and brought me into darkness without any light. Surely against me He turns His hand, again and again the whole day long. He has made my flesh and my skin waste away, and broken my bones. He has besieged and enveloped me with bitterness and tribulation. He has made me dwell in darkness, like the dead of long ago. He has walled me about so that I cannot escape. He has put heavy chains on me. Though I call and cry for help, He shuts out my prayer. He has blocked my ways with hewn stones. He has made my paths crooked. He is to me like a bear lying in wait, like a lion in hiding. He led me off my way and tore me to pieces. He has made me desolate. He bent His bow and set me as a mark for His arrow. He drove into my heart the arrows of His quiver. I have become the laughingstock of all peoples, the burden of their songs all day long. He has filled me with bitterness. He has sated me with wormwood. He has made my teeth grind on gravel, and made me cower in ashes. My soul is bereft of peace. I have forgotten what happiness is. So I say, gone is my glory, and my expectation from the Lord. Remember my affliction and my bitterness, the wormwood and the gall. My soul continually thinks of it, and is bowed down within me. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in Him. The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul that seeks Him. It is good that one should wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. Let him sit alone in silence when he has laid it on him. Let him put his mouth in the dust. There may yet be hope. Let him give his cheek to the smiter, and be filled with insults. For the Lord will not cast off forever. But, though He cause grief, He will have compassion, according to the abundance of His steadfast love. For He does not willingly afflict, or grieve the sons of men, to crush under foot all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man in the presence of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause. The Lord does not approve. Who has commanded and it came to pass? Unless the Lord has ordained it. Is it not from the mouth of the Most High that good and evil come? Why should a living man complain, a man, about the punishment of his sins? Let us test and examine our ways, and return to the Lord. Let us lift up our hearts and hands to God in heaven. We have transgressed and rebelled, and Thou hast not forgiven. Thou hast wrapped Thyself with anger and pursued us, slaying without pity. Thou hast wrapped Thyself with a cloud, so that no prayer can pass through. Thou hast made us offscouring and refuse among the peoples. All our enemies rail against us. Panic and pitfall have come upon us. Devastation and destruction. My eyes flow with rivers of tears. Because of the destruction of the daughter of my people. My eyes will flow without ceasing. Without respite. Until the Lord from heaven looks down and sees. My eyes cause me grief. At the fate of all the maidens of my city. I have been hunted like a bird. By those who were my enemies without cause. They flung me alive into the pit. And cast stones on me. Water closed over my head. I said, I am lost. I called on thy name, O Lord. From the depths of the pit. Thou didst hear my plea, do not close thine ear to my cry for help. Thou didst come near when I called on thee. Thou didst say, do not fear. Thou hast taken up my cause, O Lord. Thou hast redeemed my life. Thou hast seen the wrong done to me, O Lord. Judge thou my cause. Thou hast seen all their vengeance, all their devices against me. Thou hast heard their taunts, O Lord. All their devices against me. The lips and thoughts of my assailants are against me all the day long. Behold their sitting and their rising. I am the burden of their songs. Thou wilt requite them, O Lord. According to the work of their hands. Thou wilt give them dullness of heart. Thy curse will be on them. Thou wilt pursue them in anger and destroy them. From under thy heavens, O Lord. Lamentations 4. The punishment of Zion. How the gold has grown dim. How the pure gold is changed. The holy stones lie scattered. At the head of every street. The precious sons of Zion. Worth their weight in fine gold. How they are reckoned as earthen pots. The work of a potter's hands. Even the jackals give the breast. And suckle their young. But the daughter of my people has become cruel. Like the ostriches in the wilderness. The tongue of the nursling cleaves. To the roof of its mouth for thirst. The children beg for food. But no one gives to them. Those who feasted on dainties. Perish in the streets. Those who were brought up in purple. Lie on ash heaps. For the chastisement of the daughter of my people has been greater. Than the punishment of Sodom. Which was overthrown in a moment. No hand being laid on it. Her princes were purer than snow. Whiter than milk. Their bodies were more ruddy than coral. The beauty of their form was like sapphire. Now their visage is blacker than soot. They are not recognized in the streets. Their skin has shriveled upon their bones. It has become as dry as wood. Happier were the victims of the sword. Than the victims of hunger. Who pined away, stricken. By want of the fruits of the field. The hands of compassionate women. Have boiled their own children. They became their food. In the destruction of the daughter of my people. The Lord gave full vent to his wrath. He poured out his hot anger. And he kindled a fire in Zion. Which consumed its foundations. The kings of the earth did not believe. Or any of the inhabitants of the world. That foe or enemy could enter. The gates of Jerusalem. This was for the sins of her prophets. And the iniquities of her priests. Who shed in the midst of her the blood of the righteous. They wandered, blind, through the streets. So defiled with blood. That none could touch their garments. Away! Unclean, men cried at them. Away! Away! Touch not! So they became fugitives and wanderers. Men said among the nations. They shall stay with us no longer. The Lord himself has scattered them. He will regard them no more. No honor was shown to the priests. No favor to the elders. Our eyes failed, ever watching. Vainly for help. In our watching we watched. For a nation which could not save. Men dogged our steps. So that we could not walk in our streets. Our end drew near, our days were numbered. For our end had come. Our pursuers were swifter than the vultures in the heavens. They chased us on the mountains. They lay in wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the Lord's anointed, was taken in their pits. He of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the nations. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, dweller in the land of Uz. But to you also the cup shall pass. You shall become drunk and strip yourself bare. The punishment of your iniquity, O daughter of Zion, is accomplished. He will keep you in exile no longer. But your iniquity, O daughter of Edom, he will punish. He will uncover your sins. Lamentations 5. A plea for mercy. 5. Remember, O Lord, what has befallen us. Behold, and see our disgrace. Our inheritance has been turned over to strangers, our homes to aliens. We have become orphans, fatherless. Our mothers are like widows. We must pay for the water we drink. The wood we get must be bought. With a yoke on our necks we are hard driven. We are weary, we are given no rest. We have given the hand to Egypt and to Assyria, to get bread enough. Our fathers sinned, and are no more. And we bear their iniquities. Slaves rule over us. There is none to deliver us from their hand. We get our bread at the peril of our lives. Because of the sword in the wilderness. Our skin is hot as an oven. With the burning heat of famine. Women are ravished in Zion. Virgins in the towns of Judah. Princes are hung up by their hands. No respect is shown to the elders. Young men are compelled to grind at the mill. And boys stagger under loads of wood. The old men have quit the city gate. The young men their music. The joy of our hearts has ceased. Our dancing has been turned to mourning. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us, for we have sinned. For this our heart has become sick. For these things our eyes have grown dim. For Mount Zion which lies desolate. Jackals prowl over it. But thou, O Lord, dost reign forever. Thy throne endures to all generations. Why dost thou forget us forever? Why dost thou so long forsake us? Restore us to thyself, O Lord, that we may be restored. Renew our days as of old. Or hast thou utterly rejected us? Art thou exceedingly angry with us?